All right, so we again are just going to work through the problems from the review packet that you guys should have done last night. So everyone get out your review packet, please.
Hey, was it just me, or did almost every answer seem to be A or B?
Yes.
Or C or D.
No, but it was mostly B's in the packet. Like, it seemed like it was mostly B's.
I'd rather not.
Or the B's in the
Like,
trap.
a majority were B's and A's.
Yeah.
B's in the trap. B's in the trap.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, I did not do that intentionally. This is actually, this final that we're going to be taking in this review packet comes from the high schools, so that we know we're taking the same final as what they take at the high school. So yeah, if there's a lot of B's, whatever, I don't know. They just happen randomly. Yeah,
Is it just me that number 3 made me mad?
we'll get there.
Cause like, yes.
Because they're not drawn to scale. Yeah, because they're not drawn to scale, right?
But it at least should be like the bigger size.
I know, but that's the thing. These standardized tests, when they tell you things are not drawn to scale, you have to trust what you know, not what you see. I agree with you. I don't think I'm saying this right. I completely sympathize with your frustrations, and I agree with it. But I cannot change how the world works, and you will see things in the world where they're drawn wrong. You gotta trust the numbers.
Well, if the numbers are drawn wrong.
Then somebody needs to go back to elementary school. Leah.
For the other final, like, if you want to take one for summer class, well, give us a packet for that to do.
What?
Like, for the final for, like...
You don't have to take a final. You have to take the state test for math.
Oh, yeah, well, like, what do you mean by...
Just the standards that were covered up. So like the air test that you're going to take for math 2,
Yeah.
that's what you have to take for math 1 still. So that you have a data point with the state for your end of course exam.
So that's all you have to take for that?
Yeah, that's what Mr.
Oh, I
Short was
thought
talking about
it was
the other day.
something
No,
else.
it's the state exam, whatever you want to call it. I think it's through air. Okay, so I am randomly going to call on you guys. Ask for answers and solution techniques.
Randomly calling the guy with his hand up.
Sasha, number 1, what'd you get there? D. What was the key thing to pay attention to here?
Well, what it says. Like,
What does it say?
the length of the car to the length of the model, so have it in order.
Okay, so length of the car to the length of the model, have it in order, right?
Oh wait, never mind. Feet and inches.
Oh, look!
There we go.
Feet, inches. D is not your right answer.
That saved him.
Ben?
B.
B is your right answer. We change our 7 feet to inches, or we change our 8 inches to feet. It's easier to use the smaller units. So we could take this, multiply by 12, and we get 84 compared to 8. We can simplify by dividing by 12, by dividing by 8, and we get, we divide by 4. All right, trying to move too quick. We could divide by 8, but then we get, 10 and a half compared to 1. So we really get 21 to 2. Be careful with your units. Always check for matching units. If they don't match, make them match. Okay? Always check for the matching units. Make them match. 2. I do not. I'm sorry. I'm out right now. I had to give them all away for people with like splinters and things that don't matter. Yeah, I never say no, but now I've run out. So if you want, you can go to the office and ask for one and get me some more.
Well, I don't want to bleed all over your nice carpet.
Okay, do you want a tissue or something? Or we can send somebody else. But yeah, just tell them I'm out, and if I could get some more, that'd be great. Kale, number 2, what'd you get there?
I forgot to do the homework.
I knew this was gonna happen with some of you guys. Because forgot, by that you mean you chose to not remember. Leon,
B.
it is B. Now, what was maybe some of the difficulty here? Like, what'd you do to solve it?
I had to cross multiply.
We had to cross multiply, so you end up with 3n plus 1 times n minus 6. I'm gonna fix that 6. Equal to 3n times n minus 5. Well, what do we have to watch out for with a binomial times a binomial?
You have to make sure you have to
Yeah,
foil.
all
We have to FOIL, right? So we have to, the binomial multiplication method, we nicknamed FOIL. So my firsts, 3n times n, 3n squared. My outer, 3n times -6, -18n. My inner, positive n. And my last, -6, will equal, here, do I FOIL? No, what do we do? Distribute. 3n times n, 3n squared, and minus 15n. We can then get rid of the 3n squares because they match on both sides. Then I can use some algebraic techniques to get the n values together and the constant value on its own. And from there, we do get that the answer is B. If you did not do this last night, please make sure that you're working through it with us, not just sitting there like a bump on a log. Greg, go ahead. Why did 3 make you angry?
Because, okay, so AD is shown smaller than BC, but it's actually bigger.
Yeah, so this is not drawn to scale, and why Greg said he was so upset by it is AD is labeled longer than BC, but it looks shorter. So it is annoying. That's why you just have to pay attention to what you see or what you are told by the math. Thank you very much. Not what it looks like. So by identifying that, you know that my x value should be less than this value. How'd you solve it?
Just like ratios, I guess.
Ratios? How did you know you could use a ratio? You've been told,
6 is half, or 3 is half of 6.
okay, 3 is half of 6, but what else do you know about the shapes? You have to know this relationship first.
Oh, they are similar.
They're similar. So knowing that they're similar, we can say the comparison of 6 to 3 will be the same as 47 to x, because we have to match up what sides would be similar to what sides. We can cross multiply and solve, and the answer you got again, Greg,
C.
was C. Half of 47. Yeah, Leah?
Is it fine if I put 3 over 6 compared to x over 47?
Yeah, for sure. Or you could even put 6 over 47 compared to 3 over x. So, because I can go longer with longer, 6 to 47, shorter to shorter, I'll still get the same answer. There's a lot of ways I can set up the proportion.
That one looks easier. Like to than the other one.
Well, because then we can say, what do we do here? Divide by 2.
Yeah,
We do
'cause
the
then
same
you
thing
just divide
here.
by 2, like,
Yep.
that's easy.
Number 4. Seth.
You just left.
Grant.
Yeah, wait, what?
Yes,
I don't always just try to make your life hard. So state whether the triangles are similar. If so, what similarity statement let us know that?
Okay. They are similar.
They are similar?
Side.
Side, side, side. So what was your answer?
Okay. I think not. Wait.
Do I know my third sides?
Yes.
Oh yeah. We told.
I don't know I don't know KJ
Well, unless
I don't
they
know
drew it all
NN.
screwed up, then it's their fault.
unless they what?
Unless they drew it all screwed up, then it's their fault.
We cannot actually use side, side, side. Now I think what you're remembering back to is once we, hey guys, it's a little hard to like have a class discussion. So if you got something
Oh,
to
wait.
weigh in,
Is it,
share with us because it could help your classmates.
Oh yeah, I was
Is
talking
it
about a
B?
different problem with Robert though.
Okay.
Is it B? Side angle side.
So it is side angle side. I think what you're remembering is once we know they're similar, then we could say we can make some other statements based off that. But what we use right now is the 36 compared to the 6 and the known angle, and then the combination of the 36 and 12, the combination of the 6 and the 2.
Like that was 1/3.
Yeah. Because the extension, if you missed what Grant just said, the extension is a third of what the original triangle was. The extension here is a third of what the, so you could actually say the KOJ is 3/4 NOM because it's 3 parts of the entire whole 4. So that one is B.
Yep.
Any questions on why Do we need to work through that a little bit more? Okay.
You got him, man.
You could set up ratios and compare. They share the same ratio with each other.
Wait, did anybody like finish the whole packet?
Why did they?
What? Oh, did you say did anybody?
Yeah, I got to like 10.
You were supposed to try to get to 13.
13.
Oh, I got
So-
like.
Oh, I got to 10.
Yeah, we're just gonna work through this together for the next couple days.
Okay.
Find well, you should do it at home and then check what you've done in class. Okay. Find the missing side. Should be pretty easy. Jacob,
Actually kind of five.
what'd you get?
For 5,
Yeah.
for 5 I got B.
Yeah. What'd you use? Pythagorean?
Yep.
Yeah, we can set up 8 squared plus 15 squared equals my unknown squared and work it from there.
My calculator completely screwed up. When I did the Pythagorean.
Are you sure it
they
wasn't
said
a
was-
user error?
No, I am sure. Because I typed in everything right and then it said the answer was 289 squared. I think I must have pushed a button.
You maybe hit squared instead of square root or something weird like I don't know.
Did you forget to take the square root of 289?
No, I did the square root too, but then I hit enter and it just said like 289
Boy, let me
squared.
I'd have to see what issue
It
happened to
doesn't
try to figure
give
out
you-
why.
It would give you an entire.
Wyatt,
That's my tablet calculator.
what is my unknown leg here?
6.
Great. Do you-
6?
No?
That is correct.
Do you even
Yeah,
calculate it, bro?
200.
I know
Square
you
root
did
of
it,
289
but
was 17.
What sort of triangle is this? And don't say right.
Yeah.
What is it, Emily? It's really a 3, 4, 5. You should have recognized the 4 and the 5, that these are just doubles. So this one would just be double the 3. So you don't even need the Pythagorean theorem. When your brain is engaged and you can recognize those relationships, you can speed up your work a lot faster. A grid shows the positions of a subway stop and your house. Subway is located at 9, -8. Your house is located at 6, 3. What is the distance to the nearest unit between your house and the subway stop? So we're saying the straight line distance. Leah, how would we solve this?
Well, you could use a distance formula.
We could use our distance formula.
What I did was I actually graphed it and then looked at it and made like a triangle.
Sweet. Yeah, so I'm going to graph it relatively. So the triangle method is exactly what you want to do. The distance formula is just a fancy Pythagorean theorem manipulation. So the distance formula is square root of your change in x squared plus your change in y squared.
Oh, I hated that.
Wait, I thought
And then your change in x and your change in y can be represented x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1.
Okay, that's how I know it.
Yeah. So, but I just, to shorten it up, you can just do delta x, delta y. So, 9, -8. 9, I'm going to shift this up, -8. 6, +3, not as far to the right, up +3. So here's what I do. I just think, what's my change in x and what's my change in y? To get from 9 to 6, this is 3. To get from -8 to +3, that's
11.
More than
and then you look at your right triangle there. 3 squared plus 11 squared, the square root of that, and your answer that you got there, Leah, was
It's about 11.
is approximately 11.
Oh, wait, I have a question for Andrew.
Because, so, really, hold on.
Oh, if you get ice, go to the gym.
It's really 11.4. It's really 11.4, but because it says to the nearest unit, it's approximately 11, whatever we're talking. Miles, yeah.
Like, just curious, but what are the chances that we're gonna see something like a 30, 60, 90 triangle on the test? Like, how many questions could we expect to see from it?
That I don't know off the top of my head. You can expect to see it. I don't know how many questions will reference it. Number 8, Mr. Straveler. What'd you get there?
I got C.
See? How'd you know that? There's a very specific formula that lets me recognize this. That's why I'm asking him. How'd you get it?
Sure, like, I did this at
pretty sure there's like this thing. I was looking through some of the notes, and there's like this one thing we can use it by like adding up like if like the two values equal like over the hypotenuse. Something like that.
By over, you mean greater than?
Yeah, greater than the hypotenuse.
So think about a triangle, right?
And like it's greater than it's.
Actually, I'm going to draw that looking even more obtuse. So let's say this is, so we're relating back to hypotenuse. Like we're relating back to a square or a right triangle. But what do I know about these two lengths sum compared to my third length?
It should add up to be longer.
Yeah, so if I label this like A, B, and C, A and B have to be longer than C. We know that. That's a triangle principle. But if we set up a right triangle, then we have A squared plus B squared equals the C squared. So then as we get extended, and this comes out like this and turns into an obtuse triangle, A squared plus B squared will be greater than C squared. If I came in, so let's say I now, sorry, that green line shouldn't have been there. Trying to figure out how to draw this.
No, a little
No.
bit like fluid.
Yeah. Swing. Actually, I can do
Make it just a horizontal line.
I just did this.
just horizontal.
No, that's something.
The way I did this was that like the two of the sides are pretty close, so it's like really close to an isosceles triangle.
Yeah.
And, like therefore it can't be an obtuse. Well, yeah, it probably can't because like the third length is so short.
Right, because your third length is short, that's what kind of indicates that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I'll pull that theorem for tomorrow. We can review that because I want to pull a theorem and have a better visual instead of me just trying to draw that. So I'll notate number 8. We'll review that again tomorrow. It's a cube, yeah. Find the length of the leg when we know this is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. So, Emily, what'd you get?
Oh, there's one I can actually do. Okay, so I got B.
How'd you do it?
I worked backwards because if 20 is the hypotenuse, then whatever the two sides are, there has to be something square times 2 is equal to 400.
4. Oh, so you use Pythagorean theorem. Yeah, so we can totally do that. Or, if we remember our rule, the legs, and actually you can derive the rule from the Pythagorean theorem. That's where we get this rule. But it's going to be radical 2 times half your hypotenuse. So your 45, 45, 90, radical 2 times half your hypotenuse. 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 Catnus.
Hypotenuse.
The area of my square garden is 128. How long is the diagonal, Greg?
Huh?
How long is the
Oh,
diagonal of my
hey.
garden? How did you get that?
I forget.
I know, Mr. Wilson.
So live, Robert.
Oh no.
Leah?
Okay, so what I did is I drew a square and then I labeled each side. So like in the middle it was 128 meters squared, so it's like the area. And then I used the I square rooted 128 because
Guys,
like
stop.
because you can try and find like the side lengths from it since it's like equal since it's a square.
Yeah, so like L squared is 128. So what'd you get here?
And so I got about 11.3.
Yeah, 11.3-ish. And then
And then I took 11.3 and I squared it. And then I added 11.3
Ethan
squared
Moore
to
to
that.
the office, please. Ethan Moore.
And then I got 255.3.38. And then I square rooted that and got about 16.
yep, that line looks terrible.
Hugsdale.
Yes, gentlemen, I'm gonna call on you. You just have to have a little bit of patience, more than what a 3-year-old would have. You have to be able to let your classmate finish their statement before you try to interrupt them. So now I will recognize you guys that obviously have had something to say for the whole time that she was talking. Leon.
Okay, so you didn't have to figure out like each leg length because like 128 is already like L squared, and you just need to add 128 to itself twice, and then take the square root of that.
Yeah, so that's another way to do it, but her way was right.
Yeah.
So lots of right ways to get to Florida. So many right ways to solve these problems. Now, our 30, 60, 90 triangle here that Leon had asked about, we need to find the perimeter. All we know is the hypotenuse. So we've got 30, 60, and 90. Do you remember our 30, 60, 90 rules? Because 30 and 60, one of them is half of the other, that should help you remember what's going on here. Robert?
Okay, so your short side equals x. You can like your short side is x. Your like long leg equals x times radical 3. And then your hypotenuse equals 2.
Yeah, so your hypotenuse is always double your short side, and then your long side is the short side radical 3. So we're going to take 3, we're going to add half of 3, and then we're going to add half of 3 radical 3, and what do we get for our final answer? D? It is D. Piece of art shaped like an equilateral triangle has sides of 11. Find the area of this piece of art. Now, we need the method for how we did this. We don't just need the answer. Mackenzie, did you solve this one? So what'd you get as your answer?
It's like inverse. Yeah, it's inverse.
Should be close to B.
Yeah, it's like 60. Because like inverse isn't really a true number.
So we need the height of the triangle. Yeah, we can make this 5.5. So then 11 squared minus 5.5 squared will give you your height squared. So then you square root that. So if I do 121 minus 5.5 squared, and I take the square root of that
Why do you take the square root of that?
to find the height.
Oh, okay.
So 9.5-ish. Because then area of your triangle is just half the base times the height. So times 0.5 times 11. And we get 52.39, or right approximately 52.4. Questions on 11? Or 12, sorry.
I've got 13.
You got 13?
Yeah.
How do we solve this?
Do the negative.
Not called negative.
Inverse.
Inverse cosine.
Cosine.
So
7 divided by 13. Or 7/13. I don't care how you say it, but that's what.
what'd you get for your answer?
C.
C
7.42.
is your answer. All right, you guys have about 15 minutes to work on your homework for tonight, which is to get through problem 31 at least. Going further would be great, but you need to get through problem 31. You may work with each other as long as you can keep the noise down. So take this time, gentlemen, to have those conversations that you're trying to have in the middle of class.
Wait, to what?
Leon.